Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Emotions podcast. I am your host, Giselle. I'm a certified emotional resilience coach, and I'm the creator of Mighty Emotions, which is a space on the internet where it is safe to be a human. We are learning to become emotionally resilient. We are learning to take our power back in our lives, and we are learning to embrace our authentic selves. And today we are going to be talking about needs and how to get our needs met. This is a huge thing. It's foundational, and it's the thing that I teach my clients in week 2 of working together because it's so foundational. It's the core of whether or not we're okay, whether or not we're thriving in our lives. We're going to get into all of that today, because I get the question asked so much: how do I get my needs met, Giselle? What are my needs? So first of all, the simplest answer to how do you get your needs met is that you know what they are. Okay, so we can't get our needs met unless we understand what our core needs actually are. And there's a lot of frameworks online, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you've studied it. There's Tony Robbins has a version of his, needs. I like things to be really simple and comprehensible. And there are really only 4 main needs, and which within each of these 4 main category of needs, there's a whole host of other things, which I'll get into today. But understanding first and foremost that you can't get your needs met if you don't know what your needs are. Okay? And before we dive into any of that, we need to define what a need is. Okay? So a need is a requirement. A need is a necessity. It's not a nice to have. It's not a would be okay if it had. It is a necessity. So think about your car, right? You can have a car, and the purpose of the car is to drive from point A to point B. But in order to do that, the car needs certain things. It needs wheels, it needs gas, it needs a steering wheel, right? It needs somebody in the driver's seat to drive it, okay? At least the cars that we have now. So there are certain things that in order to fulfill a purpose, in order to accomplish something, in order to achieve something, these things that are needs have to be there. These necessities have to be there. These requirements have to be there. And it's the same for us in our lives. When we want to thrive, when we want to be in harmony with ourselves, when we want to live our most next level lives, our needs have to be met. There are just certain things that are required in order to make that possible. And I talk a lot about alignment, and sometimes that can be kind of an abstract, idea. But what I mean by alignment is that your needs are met. All of those needs, those 4 buckets, those 4 main buckets of needs are being met. That is what allows you to be in alignment. That is what allows you to be in harmony with yourself, with your world. So when I talk about emotional resilience, making us stronger, making us more resilient, making us understand ourselves at a deeper level so that we can be in alignment, what I mean by that is that we can have our needs met. We can get our needs met. Okay? So understanding all that, what are our needs? So we have 4 core human needs, 4 main buckets. The first one is sustenance and security. The second one is freedom. The third one is meaning. And the fourth one is connection. Okay? So starting with sustenance and security, this is like the baseline of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These are like our basic survival needs: sustenance, right? Food, air, water, those basic needs that allow us to physically, live our lives. And then we also have security, right? Security is a basic human need. To be safe is a need. It is required in order for us to thrive. And not only to be safe, like to physically be safe, but to have stability, to have consistency, to have structure and order. You don't need to be the most organized person in the world either, but you do need to understand that having a sense of structure and order allows you to have the foundation, the base for which you can build upon. So without the basic sustenance and basic security being met, those needs being met in our lives, we're not in a position to do anything else. Like, we need to take care of that first and foremost, making sure that our health is in check, our body has what it needs, our home, we have a safe space to be in, and that we have some sense of consistency, reliability. These are things that are basic human needs. So that's the first set of needs. The second set of needs is freedom. And people don't realize this is a need. But freedom is absolutely one of our needs. The freedom to be independent, to have autonomy, control over ourselves, the freedom of choice in our lives, that is a need. If you see young children or toddlers, anybody whose parents are around toddlers, you see them starting to, develop their independence as they grow. And they need to test your boundaries. They need to see what they can do and what they can't do, what they can get away with and what they can't get away with. All of that is part of our human needs, our core human needs. So you'll see them starting to, flex their independence a little bit. When you're not able to be free, to be yourself, to be authentic, to express yourself freely, right? Because you don't have that first bucket of safety being met, you are not going to be able to thrive. You are not going to be able to enjoy your life. You're not going to be able to feel at peace. So that freedom is super important. And the other element of freedom as a core human need is relaxation and leisure and pleasure and play. This is a need that is so often deprived, right? But it is so important in order for us to thrive, in order for us to be at peace, to be in alignment. Like I said, it's required. If we want to feel happy and joyous and grateful and all of those things, all those positive emotions that we seek in our lives, freedom is a requirement. Freedom is a need, okay? The third bucket of needs is meaning. Meaning is so crucial to us, again, being in alignment, to us feeling like our life is worth it, right? Meaning is about, what does our life mean? Who are we in our lives? The interpretations we have of the world. When we don't have a sense of meaning, when we feel like it's all meaningless, we're hopeless, we're depressed, right? We're not able to tap into our joy and our love and our awe and wonder and all of these emotions. So meaning is super important, right? A sense of self, right? Who am I in this world, right? Identity, having an identity and a sense of identity is a need. A lot of times in the spiritual community and spiritual world, it's kind of demonized. It's kind of discouraged to, focus on your identity. But identity is a core human need. Having a sense of who we are and being able to find other people with similar identities so that we can have our next need, which is connection, met, that is so, so core, right? It's so important. Understanding that discovery and creativity and learning is a core human need, like the constant learning and discovering new information. This is something that allows us to really flourish and allows us to really enjoy the lives that we're in. And when we stop learning, when we stop being open to learn new things, to be curious, we really know that we're in a state of negativity, that we're in a state of struggle or suffering. So understanding that meaning is a core human need, and it encapsulates all of these things. It encapsulates the meaning of ourselves. It encapsulates the meaning of others, the meaning of the world. Transcending all of that, some kind of spiritual connection is so core to our basic human needs. Having a sense of understanding that there's something greater, whether that's a higher power, nature, whatever that may be for you, having a connection to something bigger than you, bigger than yourself, is a core human need. That's why so many people gravitate towards spirituality and spiritual communities, because it is something that we need to fill us up so that we can be ourselves and we can feel empowered in our lives. Okay, and the last bucket of needs is connection. Huge, huge, huge core human need is not only connection to other people through community, through inclusion, belonging, having that need, but also affection, also feeling like you matter, feeling like you're seen and you're heard. These are core human needs. And oftentimes we don't realize that the lives that we want, the peace that we want, the joy that we want is there. It's attainable, but it requires that these needs are met. These 4 buckets of needs are being met in our lives. And when they are, we're able to thrive, we're able to prosper, we're able to feel fulfilled in our lives. So if any of this kind of sounded like, is that really a need? I completely understand, because for a long time I was in survival mode and I only focused on the one area of needs, which is sustenance and security. I didn't realize that having a sense of meaning in my life mattered. I didn't realize that having connection to other people mattered. I didn't realize that having freedom and leisure and play and joy was all those elements were needed in order for me to live a life that I was happy and fulfilled in. I didn't realize that. But the interesting thing is that this is where our emotions come in, because our emotions are cues, they're signals from within our subconscious that somewhere in one of these 4 quadrants, our needs are not getting met, right? So when our needs for connection are not being met, there's sadness, there's grief, there's anger, right? When our need for meaning isn't getting met, there's depression, right? There's grief again. There's a sense of shame when we don't have a connection to our identity. When our need for play and pleasure and joy is not getting met, for freedom is not getting met, there's frustration, there's disgust, there's anger. So there's all of these emotional cues that are letting us know, hey, there's an area of your needs that is being neglected, that is being, that really needs your attention right now. And by understanding how our emotions work with us to share this information with us, we can start to become more self-aware and more able to tune in and go, okay, I understand the need that's missing here. I understand what it is I'm needing. I understand what I need to do now, what action I need to take to feel better, right? Because feeling better is about, again, being in alignment, and being in alignment has a requirement that all 4 quadrants of those core human needs are met. Right? When we have connection, when we have meaning, when we have freedom, when we have our basic sustenance and security needs met, we are going to be in alignment. We are going to feel in harmony with ourselves and with our world. And it's absolutely possible to get these needs met, because as children, we can be deprived of our needs. As children, we depend on other people to get our needs met. And to a certain extent, we'll always depend on other people to get our needs met. But as adults, it is our responsibility to get our needs met. It's our responsibility to identify which of our needs is being neglected, which area of our lives do we need to focus on. And it's up to us to take aligned action. It's up to us to find the healthy ways to get those needs met. There's always an unhealthy and a healthy way of getting our needs met. But there's no circumstance where our subconscious isn't trying to get our needs met. We're always trying to get our needs met, even if we don't realize that that's what we're doing. So if we have a pattern of constantly seeking out toxic relationships, we're trying to get our need for connection met. We're trying to get our need for meaning met, right? We just aren't conscious of it. We're doing it subconsciously, right? But when we can become conscious of it, when we're intentional and deliberate about it, that's when we start seeing the healthy results. That's when we start experiencing life in a way that we feel empowered, right? I know how to get my needs met. I know how to take care of myself. And that is what we're doing when we are getting our needs met. We're taking care of ourselves. And all of us have the ability to do that, but it starts with understanding what those needs are, right? We can't get our needs met if we don't understand what they are. So today's activity, if you go to the description on the YouTube video or in Spotify, you'll be able to download the podcast notes, where I'll just recap for you what the main human needs are and give you an activity to help you start identifying how you can get those needs met in a healthy way. You'll be able to do some writing. I'll give you a list of what the needs are and what examples of the needs are, so that you could take it away and go, okay, if I'm missing a need for connection right now, how can I get community? How can I reach out to a community? How can I reach out to a friend? How can I get that need met in a healthy way? And as you begin to be intentional and deliberate about getting your needs met and taking care of yourself, you will feel the difference in your life. You will feel the difference. You will experience the difference in your emotional responses. And when our needs are met, when we're fulfilled, when we're at peace, we're so much more resilient. When things happen to us in life, we're able to face it with grace, with strength. When our needs aren't being met, we can't take any more stress. We can't take any more difficulties. So understanding this is so foundational and key, like I said. So I really encourage you to go to the YouTube video, go to the description, and download the podcast notes and do the activity, because it's really going to help you set yourself up for success. It's really going to help you give yourself that sense of empowerment that I can do this. I know what my needs are now. I can identify them and I can take care of myself. Okay? And I just want to, leave you with this. This is not about always getting your needs met at all costs under any circumstance. There are also 4 main obstacles to getting our needs met, which I'll talk about in next week's podcast, because it is important to know that we can't always get our needs met. We can't get our needs met 100% of the time. We live in a world, in a society, in a community with other people, and other people have needs too, right? We have obligations and responsibilities that can sometimes hinder our needs from getting met in the moment, right? Or for a period of time. But if we can understand what our needs are and we can identify our emotions showing us which of our needs need to be addressed, and we can already do the pre-work to identify healthy ways that these needs can be met, we're so much more likely to navigate the times when our needs can't be met with more peace of mind and security, knowing that it's okay because I have the skills, I have the internal tools, I'm safe, and I know that even if I can't get these needs met now, I know how to. So they can be met in the future, right? And there are ways that we can take care of ourselves when our needs can't be met. So if you're interested in knowing about that, I'm going to be doing next week's podcast on that for sure. And again, there'll always be an activity for you to actually take the action and apply it in your life. And I've never seen anyone take this action and not receive results. All of my clients notice the shifts almost immediately, because it's a shift in our perspective, it's a shift in our subconscious. It's really getting to the root of our needs, right? It's getting to the core of ourselves. Having our core needs met is going to change our life. It's going to have a ripple effect in our lives. So I encourage you to do the activity today. Thank you for watching. Catch the replay if you are jumping in at the end here. And leave me a comment and let me know, was this helpful for you? Did you take anything away from it? Did you do the activity and did you notice any shifts in your lives? So with that, I just love you so much for watching. Remember to be gentle with yourself, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.